Well, the holiday shopping season is ramping up with Black Friday just around the corner, and that means retailers may be working harder than ever to reel shoppers in. So joining us live with more on the tactics sellers may try to use on you is Executive Director of the Puget Sound Consumers Checkbook, Kevin Brasler. And Kevin, good morning. Thank you for being with us here on such an important week.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
All right. Well, you wrote a piece on this called Manipulative Marketing and claiming that retailers are trying to get shoppers to spend now more than ever. Talk to us about that. You wrote constant sales can be manipulation. What does that mean?
Yeah, this is the #1 trick retailers these days are using to get you to spend up and spend now, is by offering discounts that aren't really legitimate discounts, especially this time of the year, all these holiday sales and Black Friday this and Cyber Monday that. Almost all the discounts out there are fake discounts. They're showing you a list or regular price that they're crossing out, but they rarely, if ever, charge that list or regular price. So they're insisting that they're giving you 40% off or $200 off or 60% off, but they're not really giving you a heavy discount because they rarely, if ever, charge that original price. This practice has become really across the entire industry. It used to be only kind of like department stores did this, but now almost every retailer, every selling website offers these fake discounts. So please do shop around just a little bit before you jump at one of these offers, and don't feel like this is a time-sensitive situation because most of the discounts out there we found are just bogus.
Well, I'm going to admit I may have fallen a little bit into that. I couldn't fall asleep last night, and I started looking at my screen and thought it said pre-Black Friday deals. Get in on it now. But then I thought I better wait. So what are scarcity warnings, and why should shoppers be weary or trusting them right now?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of also websites and retailers where they splash things that say, only 5 left or only 2 left. It used to be kind of only hotel booking websites did that, but now I see it in many websites I visit, including Amazon. We tracked these claims over several months and found that, we'd come back a month later and know they had more stuff to sell. Their counts of how many they had left or how many they had on hand, but it wasn't really taking into account they might get resupplied that day. So whenever someone's rushing you, whenever they say this is a short-term sale, a lot of websites these days put countdown clocks on their website to make it seem like if you don't buy within a certain time frame, that deal's going away. Just take your time. I mean, whenever you're being rushed, it's a big red flag that something weird is going on, and they're just trying to manipulate you and to get you. They don't want you to shop around. They don't want you to think about it. They don't want you to come back later. They want you to buy now.
It's kind of like buying a car. You just don't go right in and purchase the car with the price they tell you. You have to negotiate. You have to be patient. I know we all fall short to this sometimes. So tell us how low price guarantees can also be misled for customers.
Yeah, something a lot of other retailers do is they say, oh, this is our low price guarantee that if you find something for less elsewhere, we'll refund the difference. And we found that for the most part, they will do that. But often the fine print it limits that low price guarantee to a certain number of retailers. And what they really know is that you're not going to go shopping around after you buy this thing to see if you could get it for less money after the fact. They're counting on that. What they want you to think is, oh, because they have this guarantee, this place is going to offer the lowest prices. You have to shop around. Just do a little bit of shopping, especially if you're going to make a big purchase, to make sure you can't buy the item for less somewhere else.
All right. Well, I'm hearing take some time, be patient, be thoughtful about this. Yeah. And I know many of us, like myself, jump at the chance to earn those points or reward bucks to put towards future purchases. On the credit cards, they say this is the big day to do it. But shoppers may end up spending extra cash in the long run. How so?
Yeah, I mean, I sign up for these programs. I really like my frequent flyer miles. But the thing to keep in mind is that these programs, they're usually worth only about effectively a 1% to 5% rebate. So don't go chasing points if you can save $400, shopping somewhere else. Don't jump at the chance to, book a ticket with a specific airline or a hotel chain because that's where you have points if you can save a lot by booking elsewhere. Right? The companies, they know that, when we accumulate these points, we really assign a high amount of value to them, far more than they're actually worth. Because it feels like, we worked hard, we spent a lot to accumulate these points, and we want to accumulating, keep accumulating them, accumulate even more. But you have to keep in mind, they're really probably not worth as much as you think. And also retailers and travel providers, they keep cheapening their programs. So over time, these points are worth even less.
Well, there's so much out there to manipulate shoppers. There's charm prices, but what do you think is the top? What is the biggest manipulation for the consumer out there?
I think these days it's the fake sales that every retailer basically has gotten engaged in this practice of saying they're offering you a steep discount, but they aren't really offering you a special price at all. And I think the other thing is that retailers are increasingly treating us as data points, not real customers, that they want us to sign up for their frequent programs. They want us to log in. They're tracking our movements. And often what they're doing is they're making more money selling our private data, our behavior on their websites or even in their stores to others than they are off the merchandise they're selling. So it's just another thing where I think people need to keep in mind these days that we're not, as I said, we're not being really treated as customers anymore by a lot of retailers. We're just data points.
Wow. Consumer beware. All right. Executor of the Puget Sound Consumers Checkbook, Kevin Brasler, thank you so much for being with us here this week.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
You too.